So before the Masters of Nonprofit Management program, we had a Masters of Arts in Organizational Management, and that began in the mid-1980s. And that was a more generalized management degree for people who wanted the human side of becoming managers rather than the more business technical side. And we did that for quite a few years. So we had the opportunity to do a 5-year review of the program, and this is typical in higher education. And when we looked at it, we saw that most of our students were working in nonprofits and were involved in the community. And that really made a lot of sense to us, that if we focused on preparing those folks for the organizations they actually worked in, that we would be more aligned with the mission of our institution and better suited to deliver what we knew about.
We saw that we were in a position to provide management education at the graduate level for people in the nonprofit sector and to help develop a new generation of leaders for our specific community here in Los Angeles.
There was more and more need for professionalization among the leaders of agencies and institutions. The days were dying when a person of goodwill and a real passion for doing some sort of good work in the world could launch a charity, and that would be sufficient to the day.
And we sat down together and we said, what should this thing look like? And we came up with this design, which is sort of a hybrid course, which has a lot of field-based education for students and which really focuses on enriching the LA community as well as the individual students we serve.
Pretty much all of our students come into this program with a certain vision of what they want to accomplish for the sake of their community, for the sake of the environment, for the sake of people who will follow after them in some fashion. And at the same time, they understand that this education will provide them with a means to advance their professional careers within a certain part of society. And those two things can really go together in a program like this.
I've always had an interest in helping others. Growing up, I always helped people in my community. I became a teacher. I taught high school math for a couple of years, and I always found myself counseling other young people. Became a counselor, a vocational counselor, and wanted to continue to give more. Found myself working with workforce development programs, specifically working with young people ages 14 to 24. And that's where I found my passion, and that's where I wanted to stay and continue transforming lives.
In college, I studied music. I was actually at NYU for classical voice. At that time, I started taking classes that were more political or historical, and that's when I really had a shift as far as what is my impact going to be.
I'm just someone who was helped by a lot of nonprofits as a youth. I was the, underserved, single parent, low income, first generation college graduate. And there were several nonprofits that were very influential in my life. Starting in elementary school, as early as elementary school, these were like the YMCAs and the local community dance nonprofits. In middle school, there was AVID, Upward Bound. These were nonprofits that got my mind focused on a college track. They gave me scholarships very early so that I would always have the idea of college on my plate. There was money waiting for me if I finished high school. And then in high school, just community nonprofits, church nonprofits, just there, I grew up and realized that I could not have done and accomplished as much as I have without the assistance of these nonprofits.
So I come through acting, improvisation, and I started learning how to take my craft and learn how to teach it. And I found The Unusual Suspects, and I was first drawn to just their work, and they happened to be a nonprofit. And then as I learned working my way through a teaching artist and a program coordinator, program manager, program director, I started learning about the nonprofit world.
One of the things about giving professional training to people is they begin to view their work life differently, and they realize they have more of a contribution to make, or they want to do something else that they never thought they wanted to do.
I had been working at a university doing, administrative, event planning, those types of things, and I just wasn't fulfilled. And I knew I wanted to go into nonprofits, just having benefited from nonprofits myself and enjoying volunteering. I wanted to make it a career.
Oh, every time somebody quits a job and gets a new one that they like better, that better suits them, I have to tell you that really gives me great pleasure.
So one of the aspirations that I had was that I wanted to open my own nonprofit to continue working with at-risk youth, specifically in low-income communities. I wanted to make that change in that community and make that impact. Through Antioch's nonprofit management program, I was able to actually learn all of the aspects that go into running a successful nonprofit, but realized that I don't necessarily need to open a nonprofit to make that type of impact. I just needed to find an organization that would allow me to put all of these skills that I learned through that program into practice.
I've seen students in their time with us through different experiences in their life, whether it's professional or personal, demonstrate tremendous courage and be changed through that journey. And I think that part of that is that they are in a supportive community of their peers and our faculty that enables that.
This was a good place, right? And folks are gonna look out for you. Folks really care about you. It's not just we're offering this program and we need people in the door. They care about people and individuals, and so do I, That's why I do this work. So right off the bat, I felt that, and I mean, honestly, that's what made me feel like I want to do this program as opposed to another program in LA.
The supportive community one finds in this program can be a model for how to support the members of your team, organization, and the people you serve.
Our entire staff goes to all of the performances that we have throughout the year, and every performance I see a reflection of myself. I remember what it was like to be in middle school, to be in high school, and just exploring the creative aspects of theater and art and music, and just needing the outlet. So I love seeing students project and hearing from their audience members, their family members, that they were completely different people before they joined our programs, and seeing them grow and just knowing that our programs are making a difference in their lives. And hopefully they retain these newfound skills, these skills of working in a group and skills of projecting and expressing in a positive way. They retain these skills as they continue to go through high school and college.
And I had no idea at the end of this that I would want to be an executive director. And it just so happened as I graduated, then it wasn't long after that my executive director was leaving, and I thought, well, I have to throw my hat in the ring. And so, I wanted to, but it was like, I need to. There was this, what was instilled in me was, you got to step up to the plate.
5 years into this program, we are in the fortunate position to have professionals in our community who want to be in our midst. They are interested in pursuing graduate level study in nonprofit management. And they need help in supporting their ability to do that, okay? Because it is the unfortunate case that we have professionals who come to our program, make application, are accepted into the program and then are not able to enroll because we are not able to provide them with sufficient scholarship support.
Many of our students are working full-time, and in many cases are already supporting families. We have folks who are not only early career in the program, but also into mid-career, say. And so they have the usual set of responsibilities outside their school. Our program, compared to many, frankly, is relatively modestly priced, but higher education is an expensive proposition no matter where you go. And that is true here. So the more that the school can provide scholarship assistance, the more that we can welcome students into our program who would truly benefit from this education and who would go on to provide some really strong and helpful leadership to nonprofits in our community, right? Without the burden, really the crushing burden sometimes, of enormous student loans.
Oh, my hope? Let's go to my wildest dreams. All right, my wildest dreams. Lots of scholarship support for our students, so that's one thing. Second thing is that we could grow the program so we would have more students, more faculty, and more opportunities to work more closely with nonprofits in our community. That would be my dream, that this would be a landing point for folks in this sector, that they would come here and know this is a place where they could meet the kind of people they want to be around, get the kind of information they want, you know, be a real destination for LA nonprofits.